A couple of weeks ago, I put out a question on social media and I asked if anyone has used the CoStar app. I didn't get any responses. So I felt like maybe I should just, throw it up there. Say, hey, there's this app and it's pretty rad. And honestly, I never thought I would actually say that about an astrology app. I learned how to chart natal charts by hand using the math over 20 years ago. And when I found computer programs that helped me do that a little bit easier, I'm not going to lie, I was a fan. And for the most part, the better part of the last 10, maybe more years, I've used Astrodienst and, if it ain't broke, why fix it? I know how to get in there and get the charts. They're free. I can save them to my account. It's easy to use and easy to share. And so when I was going through the App Store and I found this app, I don't even know what prompted me to download it because, at the end of the day, there's plenty of them out there. And I know personally, I'm not that familiar with them. So no, I'm not sponsored by CoStar. I'm not connected with them in any way, though I do like their writing and I'm really tempted to see if they have any job openings. But that being said, that's purely on my side of things that I want to do. It is, I guess you could say, also on my side, my prerogative, that I want to share this app because I really think it'll help a lot of people out there that are struggling with the finer details of reading their charts. So, as you can see, if you can see, it doesn't turn sideways. So we're just going to leave it up like it is. Sorry, guys. Oh, man. You can see all the things on my screen. My friend's working Uber today. Lucky him. But here we are in the main area of CoStar. Once you sign up, it'll walk you through doing your natal chart and getting that information. And then it will give you this on a daily basis. Now, when you look at it, honestly, the first thing that strikes out to me is, it tells me don't be a victim. Don't be a victim. Man, if somebody told me that in real life, I'm complaining about my day or this isn't fair or that's not fair. And then they turned around and they said to me, don't be a victim, do something about it. Take your power back. Man, I take my power back in one hit 'em. And I am not a fan of violence. Violence is not generally my answer or solution to things. But I look at it and in the app, I just kind of giggle because when you go through it and you look and you go, all right, well, that's good punchy words, right? It's got me to pay attention. So I scroll through it and there's my picture and it tells me this week, as it would say the same on yours once you get it set up, it'll tell you where your powers and where your challenges or your troubles are. So those change based off of your transits, where the planets are, what houses they're in, and where everything is aligned in comparison to where it was at the time that you were born. So we're going to look at it a little bit closer here by going to the updates. But first and foremost, just so you kind of have an idea what we're actually looking at here, here's my chart. Here's my chart. Here's my chart. There's my chart. It's coming up. All right. So the first thing I notice here is wait a minute. I've got all this weird stuff in the houses. So I'm going to go in the settings. You should probably do this too. Most of the time, I think it goes on to the porphyry for the houses and that placement. And that's kind of generally what I'm used to looking at under here. And this is how it breaks it down that way. So it's something you might want to, I didn't mean to go over this right now, but it is something that you might want to kind of be aware of, is that it automatically sets you up on that house system. You can change it to the ever popular Placidus, which is what most people use in this day and age in the Western world. In the Eastern world, specifically, my understanding is like Indian and Vedic astrologers, they tend to use the other. But Placidus is pretty popular in the Western civilization. The other one that I like that they give you the option for, because it kind of cleans everything up, and it's one of the older versions, is the whole sign. So, but as you can tell when we look in there, notice I don't have a 10th house anymore. It's gone. Where did it go? The other thing is I know there's things on my chart that aren't showing up. Like I know for myself, I have Chiron in the 10th house. So it would pop back up there anyways. But, just kind of keep in mind, I would say if you're new, let's just go easy peasy for now. We'll get into it later about the houses. If anyone has any questions, I'm more than happy to go over it with you. Just shoot me a DM on social media or ask a question in the learning library over on Hydrophone. But for now, we're going to leave it here. So here's my chart information. I'm an open book. I don't mind. So you can see what they're basing it off of. So when it says, don't be a victim, well, I don't know. I got a lot going on in my first house, first and foremost. And then I still have very similar things juxtaposing in the 12th house, still Sagittarius. So I got a lot of Sagittarius going on. And a little bit of Scorpio, too much Capricorn, and just enough Libra. Perfect. I'm a fan. So you'll notice when you go through the chart, it breaks down the way that it reads your chart. I like that it's kind of simplistic, direct and to the point, and very conversational. I really like the way that they wrote these things out. I like that they give you the options on the houses and you can kind of reflect the differences if you go through and you change it and you read it. I really appreciated that. And then I just really appreciated the way it's almost like interactive based off of your astrology. It's like it knows that I've got all that Sagittarius and I can take it. Because I've seen other people's that are different signs and different, they have different placements. And I don't know, maybe it's just me. Maybe I am a victim and I think they're picking on me. But it feels like sometimes like mine are punchier, man. But, I'm sure that's not the case. It's probably more along the lines. They just have good writers that are giving you very, very clear and to the point explanation. First of all, like when you look at I have the Sun in Sagittarius. And when we looked up here, we know it's in the first house. I don't like that you can't see the natal chart, but there's other ways around that. So, you can go look it up. Even on the CoStar website, you can look it up there and it'll give you an image of it. So, I have one somewhere. But it does give you the houses, it gives you the placements, and that's really at the end of the day. It gives you the big cornerstones so that you can really get like a firm understanding on your own chart. And as you do that, it also will incorporate friends as you add people. So it'll incorporate stuff where other people can possibly help you, or you could balance each other out, or, I don't know, it's very immersive in a lot of good ways, I think. And at first I thought it was going to be a little bit cheesy, but it's really not. It's just very direct to the point. Like, I look at and I go, Sun in Sagittarius, okay, it gives you that information. As most of us probably know, the Sun determines ego, identity, and the role in life. It's that core, it's that outward appearance. It's the you that is front and present, front and center every day. And so that's the core. That's how they explain it to you, is that the core is, you most likely already know this. Most of us do know our sun signs, and then we think that means everything. And they kind of even approach that. They're like, since my sun is in Sagittarius, it means that I'm fundamentally curious, restless, and independent. Talks about, how I have strong ideas, and I like to find out what's going, the truth behind the situation. I think that's a really nice way to say that I'm too blunt, and I value the truth so much that I'm going to hurt other people because I might not have any tact. I've seen that so many times, like, oh, you're Sagittarius, you don't know how to be nice to people. I do know how to be nice to people, even with all the Sagittarius in my chart. If I'm not nice to you, it's either one of two things. Most likely it's intentional. However, if I say something that hurts your feels, okay, I can be a little bit like daft sometimes. And I'll say something because it's truthful, and it doesn't occur to me that, like, oh, wow, tact. I'm in my 40s. I'm working on it. But I like how it doesn't just break everything down for the sun and say, oh, you're a Sagittarius, so you're this. It says, no, based off of this facet, this perspective, this is how this fits for you. And keep in mind, another part of that facet is the house placement. So, hey, by the way, yours is in the first house. And so in this case, I think that it's pretty accurate, but I think it's also accurate because also my moon's in Sagittarius, my ascendant's in Sagittarius, my Mercury's in Sagittarius. I'm just going through the list of all the Sagittarius. Hi, Neptune. And I've got a bunch of sagginess in there. And I like my adventure, and I'm mutable fire, and I need direction. And sometimes, hey, I'm sitting here talking to myself. No direction. Sorry, guys. Back to focus. But as you go through it, you'll notice, like it says on mine, it has the first house. So it says it's hyper present in my personality. And then you'll notice the moon in Sagittarius In this case, the moon is in the 12th house. So because it's not in the first house, it has a different placement. It has a different aspect. Because it's in the 12th house, it means that I find security and safety through privacy, secrets, and introspection, which is totally true. If I think that you're lying to my face, I'll be like, well, that is a social pleasantry. If I find out that somebody that I care about is lying behind my back, like they're hiding something from me, we're going to have a problem now. Like, I don't even care what it is. Why are you lying to me? Why are you hiding it from me? Are you judging me? It's like, there's very much like a focus on me because that first house, but then there's the focus on what are you holding back? So it's this whole existence that I have this time through the park is very relative, I would say, on my own perception and constantly going back and forth between my microcosm and my macrocosm, checking, check, 1, 2, check, 1, 2, and going intentionally stepping back and forth. And I can see how they explain that here with the first and the 12th house with my moon and then my sun. Okay, cool. Now, does that give me all the answers to my personality? Of course not. Even as we go through here, you'll see the ascendant is in Sagittarius. It does talk about, like the fact that that's where the placement is. It doesn't give you a whole lot of in-depth of like, hey, your ascendant is Sagittarius, but so is your moon and your sun. So this means, I would like to see a little bit more than that, more of that kind of thing. But I don't know. I think we probably will. I think because I've noticed I've had this app active now, I want to say about 4 months, and it's definitely gotten more immersive and more interactive as I've used it. So, let's see here. Again, with Mercury and Sagittarius, it talks about the aspect of it, what Mercury means, what that planetary energy means. It breaks it down to this planetary energy and the zodiac sign means this. And then this planetary, this zodiac, all of this in this house also reflects this. So again, it gives you those 3 corner bases. And I think because of that alone, it does it very clear, concise, and says it gives you a language that you can learn if you're learning astrology. I'm just a big fan. I really am. I really like it. Now, the thing that keeps me coming back are the updates. So the updates are here when you go to your main, oops, we don't want to change the profile picture, my bad. When you go to your main CoStar page, when you sign in and you see all these different things, like right here, it tells me that I have power and routine, social life, sex and love and self, trouble with thinking and creativity and spirituality. I stop and I go, wait a minute. I just did a couple podcasts for Mage Against the Machine. I've got them actually recorded. I'm ahead of the game. I did some art to go with it. So that's creativity and spirituality. I've got Samhain coming up. I'm feeling on point, but then CoStar is telling me that I'm going to have trouble. So let's go take a look at it. That's the kind of the cool thing you can do is if you click on it, it'll take you right to that area and it'll say, hey, this is what's going on. And this is how long it's going on for. So like in this case, it says, I could be feeling uninspired. You trust other people easily, but these days you're overextending yourself. I did just do a lot, and I do keep relying on people, and I've been noticing a trend. So, okay, I could understand that. That's still kind of general. Let's see if they go into more detail. Try to let go of attachments to certainty and order. See, that's one of those things I'm going to have to look back on. It's not 100%. I'm not always going to be like, oh, that resonates so well with me. I don't know what order is. The only order I have in my life is like Law and Order SVU. That's it. Ordering French fries. I'm a fan of that. But schedule? Order? We go back to my chart and you'd see like, no, the only thing, I mean that Capricorn, that little Capricorn in the second house is not enough to give me order and structure, unfortunately. Or maybe it is and I haven't learned it yet. But it talks about, letting go of attachments to certainty and order. The funny thing is when I say that out loud though, and I think about it, and I'm going to go, it gives me an aspect of where I can stop and I can think and I can say, does this apply to me? I mean, astrology is not an exact science by any means. So, you kind of have to take it with a grain of salt and understand that these are very broad stroke energies that affect us, and some more than others. I mean, I think a lot of that comes down to the mind is all. So if we decide that this is going to affect us, it's kind of like Henry Ford said. He said, oh man, I said that and I was going to be so cool and I was going to say the quote, whether you think you're going to win or you think you're going to lose, then you are, basically. I'm going to look it up later. That's not the right quote. Whether you think you can or you think you can't, essentially whatever you think, you're right. Whether you think you can or you think you can't, you're right. I think is what it is. Anyways. So, I mean, I think, that the energy, the decision, the intentional agreement that we're going to allow this energy to affect us, I think that all comes into play. So do with that as you will. I'm definitely going to take a look and I'm going to think about it and be like, hey, well, why are you even saying all this? Why are you telling me that, like, learn to make a choice and stick with it? You learn to make a choice and stick with it. One thing at a time. Okay, now it's picking on me. See, it's picking on me. But let's see why. Details. So we've got a semi-square Mercury. Okay, well, anytime Mercury's kind of square, it's like, okay, that makes sense. But it gives you a really good in-depth, and it gives you from the dates. So first up on top there in the gray, we can see from October 25th to October 29th, 2021. And we see communications are causing distractions. And, it gives you kind of the breakdown from there. We don't have to read all the way through it, but it tells you why. And then you can tell, is it helpful? And I'm sure that helps the algorithm. But I really like that aspect too. So it's like, okay, well, there's that reason for that. What about my thinking and creativity? I wonder if it's a similar thing. Because Mercury, yep. Communications causing distractions. So that makes sense. So in my spiritual area, right, Mercury's not letting me think right, is what they're saying. And in the social communication aspect, in the social front of it, well, also the same problem. Mercury would contribute to both of those because I have that transit going into a semi-square. That totally makes sense. I go, okay, well, that's something to think about. And then what I would usually do is I'm going to mark it down, and then I'm going to look for trends over the course of the year. So I usually start at Ostara, and I start writing things down, and then right when we get to about now and Samhain, which is part of the reason that I'm going through and I'm trying the apps and stuff, is because I don't know, I've really avoided embracing technology with my practice. And so I'm working on it. I'm working on it and I'm finding what I share. So this is what I found so far. And I like it. And it kind of makes you question things. It tells you how long things are going to be happening for. And it gives you kind of these quick little things. And what I really like, it tells me to go on an adventure with Brian. Brian is my better half. I would love to go on an adventure with him. I think we both need an adventure. So yeah, I'm going to take that advice. It's not a bad idea. It's pretty blanket, though. You can always tell me to go on an adventure, and I'll be like, you know what life needs? An adventure. That's right. But, Brian is almost as much Gemini as I am Sagittarius. And so let's just say adventure, not always without that plan. Like, I'm like, wanderlust, activate. And he's like, don't we need like a map and gas money? I'm like, what are you talking about? It will provide. It'll work out. Let's just go. So the fact that I see that we're both on the same page, that's pretty cool. I'm going to look into that a little bit more. And as we go down it, it just kind of gives you these details and stuff. And then a new feature that I really like is this one where it's see how other people feel. And you can answer questions. Like you can write a note. And it says, how do you escape? I go, right, nope. I run and so far away. I run so far away. Seeking adventure. Now I'm gonna see. And now, another Sagittarius said I leave a place for a couple hours without my phone. Feels like suddenly I stopped dragging an anchor behind me. And I'm like, hey, me too. See, and there's my quote right there. And that's Sagittarius moon. That's interesting. But yeah, it's got a lot of this stuff. And this is the interactive side that I'm really liking as well. And then it says more Sagittarius. So you can learn more cool Sagittarius traits if you're a Sagittarian like me. Or whatever you are. I'll say more Libra, whatever, you know what I'm saying. And then friends. Add your friends. The more people that you have on here, I think it gets more interactive because it gives you more options and you learn about other people's signs as well. Because if you're doing it just for yourself, then you're going to learn just about your aspects, which is helpful, but not 100%. So when you start looking at what's going on with your friends and then it gives you a suggestion like, hey, you could do this with your friend, and you kind of, it'll start to make sense in a more kind of convenient, smart, and not contrived kind of way. So far I'm really digging it. In any case, I did not expect for this whole thing to be this long. I'm going to throw it up onto, I don't know, let's try YouTube. I'm learning how to do all these things. I don't know how it's going to look because it's up and down in the recording format, but we'll figure it out. In any case, thank you all so much for listening, for paying attention. If you haven't done so, I suggest no pressure because, it's really just a suggestion because I dig it and I thought some other people might as well. If you do go and check out the CoStar app, feel free to look me up at Rohana Irene. I believe we have a link on our social media as well. But yeah, add me. And if you have any questions, reach out. And hey, just sharing it as I find it. So thanks for listening. And I will continue to keep you posted as I'm getting things caught up here. And have a great day. Blessed be. Namaste. Goodbye.